Wow, Donald Trump here with a massive mega Bitcoin announcement. But the whole thing could also be a big fake and a major misinterpretation. Things are really hitting the fan now, and it's only going to get worse. Even macro analyst Zero Hedge is reporting on this now. We're now seeing contagion effects in banks in the US, and this could put even more pressure on traditional financial markets. Could Bitcoin even fall below $100,000 here? At least that's what Polymarket is saying. At the same time, we've got Taco Trump. Trump, who is now pulling back again, is giving strong signs that the trade crisis is easing. But at the same time, we're really seeing things hit the fan at the banks. And even Deutsche Bank is now talking about a money bomb that's coming our way. The money printers will keep running. The money printers will keep running. I keep telling you this over and over and over again. And right now we're under short-term pressure. But in the medium and long term, there are also some really, really good things developing here. We've got Charles Schwab on CNBC with a massively bullish perspective on Bitcoin. And now we're going to take a look at the whole thing. But first, it would make me really happy if you could take a second and smash the like button below for higher Bitcoin prices, new all-time highs. It's really important here. Every like counts here now. As a small thank you for always hitting the like button down below, I want to show you the Volksempfänger here. Of course, the cable is unplugged here. And now we really have it here in black and white. Currently, the chances are higher that Bitcoin will fall below 100,000 than that it will stay above 100,000 here in October. There's a 52% chance that will fall below 100,000. And this is according to a betting exchange, according to Polymarkets. We can also see it here, for example. You can. It's pretty simple. The retail crowd is absolutely shocked, absolutely not involved here at all. I don't know what they're doing. They're busy with other things right now. And now we even have Deutsche Bank here talking about a money bomb. Deutsche Bank expects that the Fed will announce the end of QT at the FOMC meeting in December. And that doesn't mean we'll immediately move into QE, but this is the first step they need to take in order to start QE, to basically achieve higher asset prices across all markets, simply because liquidity is increasing. And now let's quickly take a look at what Donald Trump said here and why it's relevant. And after that, we'll go straight to Zero Hedge to see what's happening with the healthcare crisis in the US. So President Trump is pulling a taco here. Trump always chickens out. I need to explain that again for some people who still haven't understood it. So Trump always makes announcements, and then he takes those announcements back. When he first announces higher tariffs, the markets react. Then he softens the whole thing, and prices climb back up to new all-time highs. It's always the same playbook. I've shown you this playbook here many times before, and once again, everything is happening exactly according to this playbook. So if you're basically subscribed here, you always know what's going on. Before it actually happens, not with everything, of course, but with a few things, you can kind of see it coming. You can anticipate things like this because there are certain patterns in the economy that just keep repeating themselves. It's the same with Bitcoin cycles. There are certain correlations and connections that you can always sort of deduce. For example, it wouldn't be surprising now if, say, Bitcoin follows gold's lead. That would basically be the next thing to happen here. And here we have, President Trump says he could move up China's 100 tariff deadline from November 1st. To me, that's a clear sign that they don't actually want to impose harsh tariffs right now, but rather that they want to keep negotiating. That also means they'll meet, and that they just need to see a bit more how things will ultimately look in the end. So, the exact deals aren't set yet, and for now, they want to leave themselves some wiggle room. So yeah, that doesn't mean the danger is completely gone, but this is the first further sign that we're seeing a Taco Trump here, who is taking a de-escalating approach. Then we have another clip here from Scott Besson that has just surfaced.
I think that things have de-escalated. We hope that China will show the respect that we have shown them. And I am confident that President Trump, because of his relationship with President Xi, will be able to get things back on a good course.
He also mentioned de-escalation here. That means not only is Trump doing the taco, but we're also seeing the Scott Bassett taco here, who is also backing down. So, Trump always chickens out, and now it's Bassett always chickens out. And that's exactly how it's described in a playbook. I told you so. After the escalation, Scott Besson will go on TV and de-escalate the whole thing. We're seeing this happen multiple times now, not just for the first time, but it's basically happened several times already. And now there's actually a clip that's being shared everywhere. You can see it here too, 130,000 views. And now you can see this clip everywhere, this particular clip. And in it, Donald Trump said something really, really brutal. And let's take a look at what this is all about, what this clip is really about, and whether it's actually true.
I don't know if that's right or not.
But he gets some Bitcoin.
From this day on, America will follow the rule that every Bitcoin knows very well, never sell your Bitcoin. That's a little phrase that they have. I don't know if that's right or not. Who the hell knows, right?
Of course, a really, really big announcement. and people are saying you shouldn't sell your Bitcoin. And yeah, it's very, very bullish, extremely bullish, definitely. But it's really, really important. This clip, I even specifically asked Croc again whether this clip is actually current, because I had the feeling that this clip must already be old. I feel like I've heard this before and even made a video about it, but now everyone is sharing this clip, so you really have to be careful here. And I have the feeling that most people haven't even realized it, but this clip is actually not new. It's from March 7th, 2025, when the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve was announced. March 2025, when the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve was announced here. I asked Croc about it once here, and then I even asked Croc a second time. Everyone is sharing the clip right now, so it must be new, right? No, the clip is definitely from March 7th, March 2025, so you really have to be careful here. So feel free to let me know in the comments below whether you think this is a new clip or an old one, but I actually think it was an old clip that just got brought up again here, and then people just jumped on it. We see this happen with Bitcoin from time to time, where something like this happens and then social media jumps on it, but it's not really that important anyway. What he's saying is, of course, true. Still, it's a pretty bold statement. Especially in the current context, it's really, really important, because a lot of people are still selling their Bitcoin, even though we're maybe already moving more and more toward a bottom forming. Of course, we don't know for sure. And we also see Max Kaiser here saying, shit is breaking again. By that, I mean earlier when I said, things are really hitting the fan here. I didn't know how to translate that into German. How the heck do you translate shit is breaking again? That basically means things are hitting the fan. Or how would you translate that into German? Anyway, here he's referring to an article from Zero Hedge. We really need to take a close look at that. It's about how the situation in the US around the banks has gotten worse. It's a really long article. I've summarized it here very briefly. For those who don't know Zero Hedge, it's probably one of the most relevant macro analysts here on X. It's about regional US banks, Zions, Western Alliance, Jefferies, that are reporting massive losses, lawsuits, and fraud cases. This is leading to systemic contagion, and that's starting now. Banks have been concealing risks for years, he writes here, using balance sheet tricks, illiquid assets, and off-balance sheet debts. That's always the issue. When banks, for example, use certain things as collateral, those securities lose value. Then they go on to falsify their balance sheets, and they don't really account for these devaluations. And then you end up with bad loans, and that's exactly what's happening here. We already saw this during the financial crisis, and now we're seeing real losses coming to light. Then there's a domino effect, liquidity shortages, fire sales, which leads to further panic. Investors and depositors lose confidence, and the sector goes into a downward spiral. The gold price is skyrocketing, going up by several €100 per day, not just euros, dollars, or even $1,000 a day, as a flight from fiat, a structural crisis of confidence in the fiat system. And then the question is when the real switch to Bitcoin will happen and when people will start fleeing to Bitcoin as well. And Zero Hedge now expects, and this is the most important thing, Fed interventions, bailouts, but only after more chaos. That means we're going to see even more chaos. Right now, the chaos just isn't big enough for the bailouts to happen. And then he comes to the conclusion, shit is breaking, a systemic crisis in the US regional banking sector. And then there's really only one solution here, and that means Bitcoin. And gold is the long-term outlet where all the liquidity will flow into. And you really have to pay attention to that. When people like Zero Hedge issue warnings, it could really mean something. And Max Kaiser took it a step further, saying that the outlet Zero Hedge expects, where the liquidity will flow, is actually already flowing into Bitcoin, and that this has been happening for the past 16 years. Max Kaiser writes 15 years here, but actually it's been 16 years. Or no, then 15 years is actually correct. Where Bitcoin has risen from $1 to $105,000, that's basically already the monetization phase of Bitcoin, which at the same time is the demonetization phase of fiat money. And because Bitcoin is in this monetization phase, it will continue to outperform everything else in the coming years, at least according to Max Kaiser. And let's listen to what Charles Schwab has to say about this. I probably meant to say Klaus Schwab, but no, Charles Schwab, a major bank in the US, which is now also betting on Bitcoin and is very, very bullish. Check this out. One of the most relevant banks here, short and sweet, but they're talking bullishly about Bitcoin. Oh, what's going on now?
Engagement. Yes, we've been active in both. So in crypto, we do offer crypto ETFs, Bitcoin futures, closed-end funds. In fact, our clients own 20% of all the crypto exchange-traded products in our country. So they've been very active. We've seen visits to our crypto site go up 90% in the last year. It's a topic that's of high engagement. And for privates, we have made private investments available to our clients. We've done through third-party managers like KKR and Apollo and folks like that. And we've also stood up a team of alternative experts. If you want to invest in alternatives at Schwab, you're going to need to talk to a professional and make sure they're right for you and to make sure you find the right strategy for you.
How much?
Buddhist statements. You are responsible for 20% of all exchange-traded products here in the USA, so ETFs and things like that, which are handled here through Charles Schwab. And it doesn't matter if it's Charles Schwab, JP Morgan, and so on, Bank of America, they're all going to come. I don't even know if Bank of America is open to Bitcoin here. As we saw earlier, Deutsche Bank, which is also very, very pro-Bitcoin here. And what we really need to take away from all this are two things. There could be even more chaos now. There could definitely be even more chaos, just like Zero Hedge says. I think that's a very, very accurate point. The question is whether Bitcoin will also get dragged down by this chaos. Right now, I'm mainly talking about traditional banks. Here, we're dealing with regional banks. We also saw that with the last regional bank in 2023, Bitcoin actually performed positively. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be bad for the Bitcoin price, but the traditional financial markets will continue to come under pressure here. And then what Zero Hedge described will happen. Then the money printer will come, then Jerome Powell will step in, then the big QE programs will be rolled out, interest rates will be lowered, and that will be the final push, the night's blow for Bitcoin, when it really takes off to the moon. Of course, none of this is guaranteed, but it's just very, very likely. That means, in the short term, as always, it's very, very difficult to predict what will happen now. Medium-term bullish, long-term hyper-bullish. And that's why, if you still want to buy Bitcoin now, I'll put a link for you below to 21 Bitcoin, where you can buy Bitcoin. Good Bitcoin Hotel gives up to 20% off fee. Save using Bitcoin. See you next time. Take care. Peace out.